to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One from a jam-packed Baum Walker Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where the home fans have turned out to cheer on the number 3 national seed, the Razorbacks, taking on 14 seed Tennessee in a rematch of a series they just played here 3 weeks ago. These two teams are 2 wins away from Omaha. That's a promised land for Dave Van Horn. He's taken the Hogs there 7 times, but he has yet to grab the brass ring. That's what Tony Vitello did last season in his 3rd trip to Omaha as Tennessee's head coach, and the dream's still on the line for both. Here's a look at the right side of the Omaha bracket. Later tonight, it'll be UCLA and UTSA to get started, and already LSU convincing lead against West Virginia. Duke's got a win in the win column. Yeah, that's what they call it. Tom Hart, Chris Burke, Kyle Peterson, great to be with you today. This may be the most highly anticipated Super Regional Series. For one thing, it's power versus power.
Yeah, on a day where we may see some power. But for both of these, offensively and on the mound, you're going to see some of the best in the country. From a home run standpoint, both above 120 this year. 7 of the 9 in each of these lineups has at least double-digit home runs. But then on the mound is as much swing and miss as you will see. The wind is howling out to left field. Not a bad day to hit, boys.
Baseball's Heisman is called the Golden Spikes Trophy. We have 2 of the 3 finalists in this series. One of those, Liam Doyle, will throw tomorrow. Vahiva Aloy's been there all season for Arkansas.
Yeah, the SEC Player of the Year has had an All-American type of season. A finalist for the Golden Spikes, as you said, Tommy, one of the most violent swingers we have in the game of baseball. Also a stud at the shortstop position. Going to hear his name called in the first round of the draft. How about for Tennessee? Andrew Fisher leads the Southeastern Conference in homers and OPS. As dangerous a hitter as the college game features. 2 potential first-rounders on full display here this weekend.
The numbers are through the roof. The wind is blowing out, and this Super Saturday showdown should be a fun one. It's Tennessee, led by Tony Vitello, as the Vols look for a return to defend their national championship, taking on the highest seed remaining, the Razorbacks of Arkansas.
Nebraska, home of the College World Series.
'Cause here I come, I wear it all on my sleeve, so everything you see shows you where
Game one of this Fayetteville Super Regional featuring the visiting Tennessee Volunteers, third in the country in home runs, but they get on base too, ninth in the country in walks. They're your defending national champions. And on the mound for Arkansas, East Carolina transfer Zach Root. 7-5, a 3.78 ERA. After he throws the first pitch today, nobody will have more than his 17 starts on the season in the country.
Yeah, and for Root, it's a mid-90s fastball that he'll use at the top of the zone. It's a real curveball. Change up more against right-handers that can really play up. He wasn't great against Tennessee just a few weeks ago. And in talking to Matt Hobbs, the pitching coach for Arkansas before the game, he said, I don't think he was aggressive enough in that one, which is not who Root is. He's been very aggressive throughout the course of the season. Expect that aggressiveness to show up again today.
Plenty of orange in the building for this one. Another packed house at Baum Walker. The weather is absolutely perfect and will actually improve from perfection tomorrow.
Hard to do.
Hard, but possible.
That's how good this one's going to be. Perfect today, better tomorrow.
What's your feeling? What plays this weekend?
Long ball.
High to left.
All right. Gavin Keelan's got 15 of those on the season, and the first pitch he chops up the middle. Cam Kojal, after a double pump, takes his time. One down.
Oh, you don't get this expert analysis for free, Tommy Hart. What plays? The long ball. First ball put into play went 5 feet 2 inches off the bat. One pitch, one out to start.
Here is the emotional spark plug for Tennessee, Andrew Fisher, who's reached base safely in every game this season and the final 5 of last year. First year in the Tennessee program after coming over from Ole Miss. Before that, he was a Duke Blue Devil. And he's got real raw power. And he takes a curveball and hammers it straight up in the air to center field.
Hey now.
Justin Thomas Jr. has to track it to the cinders. 2 down.
Not far enough left, Kyle. High to center wasn't the pregame approach. High to left. That ball had at least 20 feet of carry to it, but the wrong part of the park as Root. How about that? 2 pitches, 2 outs.
See it high and let it fly. I don't believe that's 7. I think it's a bit stronger than that. What do you think?
It certainly looks like that based on the flags.
The wind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it was 7? No. Closer to 17.
Two
right now,
clubs?
blown out to, oh, yeah.
Here's Hunter Ensley, senior from Huntington, Tennessee. His 10 home runs and 62 driven in. This is a power Tennessee lineup. Third in the country, 128 home runs. They score better than 8 runs a game. Ensley did not have a great regional. He was just 3 for 15, but he walked 5 times. And in the Arkansas series last weekend of the regular season, he was just 2 for 16. Eerie how quiet it was before that pitch. Who's got the advantage second matchup between the two, pitcher or hitter?
I think it's pitcher that didn't throw great because you go back, you look at your approach. It's interesting too. Root has thrown 4 strikes so far in this first inning. Tennessee has swung at every one of them.
And the curveball drops in for strike 3 looking. An efficient 6-pitch opening frame for Zach Root. And a Golden Spikes finalist, SEC Player of the Year, Bahiva Aloy will be second man up for the Hogs as we go to the home half of the first. 80 degrees, partly cloudy here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It is beautiful. Here's a look at the Razorbacks batting order. They're hit a school record, 120 home runs. That's good for 6th best in the country. Vahiva Aloy is the anchor, top 10 in the SEC in average home runs and RBI. And in the running for the Golden Spikes Award as the best college player in the nation.
Starts quick with this Arkansas lineup. Davalon, Aloy, both tied for the SEC lead in hits. And so for Marcus Phillips, got to be sharp early if he's going to keep these Razorbacks off the sacks.
Phillips went just 4 1/3 in the last matchup between these two. The junior from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, was a reliever primarily on the national championship team last year. He's their number 2 starter this year. 4-4 with a 3.71.
Yeah, 2 starts total last year for Marcus Phillips. This year's been a little bit different, and he's really grown into that role. It is a mid to upper 90s fastball, 2 different breakables, 1 a cutter, 1 a slider. Changeup is not a bad pitch against left-handers. He hasn't thrown it a ton this year, but ultimately can be good, and these were the numbers his first time out. There was a 3 or 4 week period where all of the talk about Phillips was the number of stolen bases he was giving up. That has tightened up significantly in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
And it really started in his outing against Arkansas, in which he also threw game 1 of that series. That was a Thursday through Saturday series. They closed the regular season. Arkansas won the series. In fact, Tennessee hasn't won a 3-game series here since 2001. Charles Davalon in the leadoff spot for Arkansas, sophomore from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He had 6 hits against Tennessee earlier this season, including a pair of doubles. His .350 average, one of the best among SEC hitters, and he's got 13 bombs in the leadoff spot.
What a find coming over from Florida Gulf Coast. Has been better than they could even have hoped or imagined with the consistency and the damage that he's been able to do from the leadoff spot.
Phillips just misses with 96, 3-0.
He's not missing by much, but all 3 of those have missed off the plate.
Rick Allen has the plate tonight. And there's a 4-pitch walk to put Davalon aboard and get this home crowd into it early. And it brings Vahiva Aloy to the plate. What a season Aloy is having. 2nd year in the Arkansas program. Kylie McDaniel has him as a top 15 prospect in this summer's draft. 7th in the SEC, an average, 5th in home runs, 8th in RBI. And Phillips finds a strike with a breaking ball, his first of the day. This is an Arkansas team that breezed through its regional, won all 3 contests, and they hit, as they have all season, with great power last weekend here at this ballpark, including Aloy, who went 4 for 10 with a pair of home runs. And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball, 0-2.
That's that violent swing you're talking about there?
That's it. That's what you get with Aloy. He will take his chances, Tommy. Vahiva Aloy, he will sit on a pitch. You'll see him swing and miss, sometimes wildly at pitches, but man, when he's right, there is real damage, foul pole to foul pole.
Davalon the runner at first, and they'll throw over. You mentioned Marcus Phillips' inability to control the run game through most of the season. Vandy got 8 stolen bases against him, came here the next start. It was much more concerted effort to control the runners. He had 20 pickoff attempts in that game. And there goes Davalon, and it's fouled back.
Well, and an added wrinkle to the run game today for Tennessee. They got a new catcher behind the plate in Stone Lawless, right? So you've got a pitcher that has worked tirelessly to get better at controlling the running game, but you also got a guy behind the plate who has played plenty but has not played much down the stretch here. So Arkansas testing that early in this ball game with Davalon taken out.
And there's another throw. Dave, thank you. We welcome those of you who are watching LSU and West Virginia. This is game one of the Super Regional between Tennessee and Arkansas. Tom Hart, Chris Burke, and Kyle Peterson. Tennessee went quietly in the first, and Vahiva Aloy sends a fly ball to right field for Reese Chapman. And after a Charles Davalon 4-pitch walk, this is where Arkansas's lineup stands. Packed house at Baum-Walker Stadium, and for good reason. This is the most anticipated Super Regional Series of the weekend. Winner heads to Omaha. Arkansas has not won under Dave Van Horn, and Tennessee under Tony Vitello, the reigning national champions. They were camped out early. They had the hog pen tents out all yesterday.
Hog pen tents got a little damp last night, too, because it poured.
Here's Logan Maxwell, senior right fielder. Runner goes. The throw from Lawless is high, and it's a stolen base for Charles Davalon. Opponents have stolen 120 bases against Tennessee this season.
Well, against Phillips, now 38 of 42 on the year. Davalon, probably the best base stealer on this Arkansas team. Dave Van Horn taking a chance. That was the third time he attempted to run so far early in this game, and that one's successful.
So the runner in scoring position, the 1-0. And for those of you watching on ESPNU, if you want to stick with Tennessee, Arkansas, flip over to ESPN. Those of you who are watching LSU, West Virginia, want to stick with that. That game will now be airing on ESPNU. LSU in control 16-7 late in that one. 2-0 to Maxwell. And he slices it off the leather of Keelan. Has no play. Hogs have two aboard with one out.
But Logan Maxwell staying red hot. 4 for 12 last weekend with a couple homers and 4 ribbies, and this ball is smashed off the bat of the Arkansas right fielder. And honestly, KP, I feel like both teams would almost trade this result. Keelan is able to save a run because that ball gets by him. It's in the gap, and Davalon scoring. And for Arkansas, they avoid an out because Keelan certainly could have made that play. Ball kind of clanks off his heel, and really, I think Marcus Phillips, you give up a 105-mile-an-hour liner, you're probably okay with the lead runner not advancing.
So here's the red-hot Ryder Helfrich, OPS over 1,000 now. And he pops this one out of play to the right side. What's the difference for Ryder Helfrich late in the season versus what we saw early?
I think it's just the evolution of a kid who's got a chance to be a big leaguer for a very long time. And as he's gotten more comfortable and as the game has slowed down for him both behind the plate and up to bat, he's literally become one of the best catchers in all of America, and he's doing it on both sides of the ball.
Sophomore from Discovery Bay, California, the East Bay. Grew up an Oakland A's fan, swing and a miss at the changeup, and that takes it to 0-2.
His OPS in May, 1357. I mean, you're talking about a guy that not only steals you a bunch of pitches and controls the run game behind the plate, but has done real damage over the last month.
And he is a fantastic defensive catcher, the best framing catcher in the SEC. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Helfrich. Went 6 for 11 with 3 home runs in the region. What a jump. He barely played last year. Hit a .179, only got 84 at bats in 26 starts. Sharply hit to short. Keelan shuffles it to Curley on to first, and a 6-4-3 double play gets Tennessee out of any trouble, real or perceived. We are scoreless through 1. Two of the winningest programs in college baseball over the last 7 years going head-to-head and matching up for the second time in a 3-week span. I don't know why those seats are empty. They must be getting a soda right now.
That's
because this was as high demand a ticket as you would find in the regionals. It costs over $100 just to get in the door. Since 2018, Tennessee has more wins than anybody. Arkansas second most in that span. And 8 years ago today, Tony Vitello, then an Arkansas assistant coach, was hired at Tennessee, and man, did he change things on Rocky Top immediately. Dave Van Horn is protege and two of the most competitive guys you'll find in the game. And the first pitch in for a strike to Dalton Bargo. Just an added storyline, the fact that
some history here,
teacher
for
versus
sure.
student.
A lot of respect between those two guys. I know there's the dust up back in 21, but there is a lot of shared respect between those two men.
0-2 from Root to Bargo. Bargo did not have a great regional, just 1 for 16, and he struck out 5 times. It was really Berkey an up and down season for Tennessee overall. I mean, they were the last undefeated team in the country at 20-0. They got into the toughest league in America, and they really had some struggles.
Well, and they started 9-1, and then it was some tough sledding from there, including losing 6 of their last 7 series and 4 straight at home. But through that, you could still see the talent was evident that if the team could really find their groove, they definitely had another Omaha run in them. Of course, they've drawn a very tough matchup here in the Super, but the talent is undeniable on the roster, as with Arkansas, and that's why we're so excited about getting this series going, because it's two of the most talented rosters in college baseball.
It is. Offensively on the mound, the one difference, and it is a significant difference, is how Arkansas has defended this year as opposed to Tennessee.
Bargo looks at strike 3. Second K for Root, 1 down.
I talked about Bargo's weekend last weekend in the regionals, and really 3, 4, 5 in that lineup did not have a big weekend. It was others in Tennessee's lineup that did. This one caught enough of the plate right here. Elevated 95 on the outside part of the plate. Zach Root has now struck out back-to-back hitters.
There's some real power pitching on both of these staffs. In fact, 40% of the pitches that have been thrown this season at 98 miles per hour or harder in college baseball have come from these two staffs, 40%. Here's Curley, sophomore California native. He homered and drove in 7 in the Tennessee Regional in Knoxville. They had to work a little bit to win that 7th game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it got interesting. 7-run fourth ended up changing things for Tennessee, but Wade gave them all they wanted. I want you to say the stat again that you just said, because it is a crazy stat.
40% of pitches thrown at 98 or harder
in all of college
baseball
baseball are between these two stats this year.
And we'll likely see, well, one of the hardest throwers when Doyle takes the mound tomorrow for Tennessee. Curveball in for a strike, and that's a big part of the storyline is that Doyle came out of the bullpen to finish things off on Monday, so not available to go tonight.
I think these two rosters are the prototype for what every team in the Southeastern Conference, for the most part, is trying to build, which is extreme power arms and extreme power bats.
They're very modern in that regard. Here's Aloy, backhanded. 2 down.
Yeah, I think you look at both of these rotations and their bullpens, and it is premium stuff after premium stuff. And then both teams, with the exception of a player or two that have been in and out of their lineup, are going to run guys with double-digit home runs at you. And that's just what the recipe for success in this league over the last 15 years.
And now Reese Chapman, he's homered 13 times this season. Just under half of those have come against SEC pitching. Root greets him at 94, 0-1. Junior out of Grandview High School in Parker, Colorado. He opened this season with a 15-game hit streak. 0-2.
if they're worried about Zach Rube being aggressive today, they don't have to worry about it anymore. How about 14 of his first 17 pitches for strikes? Now, he's forced Tennessee to expand the zone a little bit, particularly on that pitch, but control of the fastball in particular has been outstanding early.
He shakes his catcher. Helfrich is the one that calls the pitches. That is unique in college baseball. And the 0-2, breaking ball just out of the zone. So if you want to add some weight to what Ryder Helfrich has accomplished this season, considering he's one of the best pitch framers in the game and he's responsible for calling the pitches. Here's the 1-2 from Root. Breaking ball to the right side. Box, but recovered. Plenty of time. And that will close the third. Only 21 pitches through 2 for Root. Arkansas returning to the plate. The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Toughest ticket in college baseball this weekend. Over $100 just to get in the building. And the weight of Game 1 cannot be overstated. 79% of Game 1 winners have advanced to Omaha since this format came about in 1999. Omaha is the hometown for Cam Koziel, standing at the plate right now for Arkansas. His dad, a groundskeeper at Charles Schwab Field. And for the AAA Royals squad just outside of town, and the first pitch swung on a miss by Koziel. Sophomore has grand plans, doesn't he, Berkey? In a lot of different ways.
He does. He does. Wants to play this game for about the next 15 years and then have 20 kids. I would call those big plans.
What was his response when you asked him about that?
Well, I said, my guy Tom Hart keeps saying that you were quoted as saying you wanted 20 kids. Is that real? He's like, it absolutely is. I had to shake his hand after that.
And he banks one up the middle for the second hit for Arkansas. I followed up. I said, Cam, I'm 1-6. We had a big van. He goes, sounds like I'm going to need a bigger van.
And I said, I have 5. Just take a deep breath and start with 1 and see where it takes you.
So with the leadoff man, Kuyo Eloy comes to the plate. As of now, the second of the Eloy brothers. He's the younger one. .335 average with 13 home runs. And he's driven in 69.
Hogs need to get Kuyo going. Has not been a great stretch. Didn't drive in a run last weekend in the regional. OPS over the last month of the season dipped to 734. Just hasn't been impacting the game from a power standpoint. Just 4 extra base hits in the month of May.
Well, his mom is in the building, and she arrived just in the nick of time. It was about a 20-hour trip, I'm told, from Hawaii. Got diverted because of the storms to Kansas City, made the drive down, left at 8 a.m. in Hawaii, Got here at 4 a.m.
Yeah, 20 hours is not a trip around the block, that's for sure.
That's a lot of airline pretzels. 0-2. Missed Lone away. His parents gave him the middle name, Kamakama Vahida Makaliva. And that's right. His brother's name, Vahiva, is right smack dab in the middle of the. So I asked him about it today, and he said they wanted to build the bond between myself and my brother and take it to another level. So just an add-on by putting the name in there. And he sends a breaking ball up the third base line, and that's picked up at 80 feet. And that's a fair ball.
You can't pick that one up. You can't.
You know,
it's
why?
not been a game ball.
Right.
I mean, at this point, I don't know whether it's going to go foul. It could hit the cut and ultimately go foul, but if you're Manny Marin right now, you're not going to throw him out. And the guy's not going to go first or third on you. So you got to take the chance and see if that thing rolls foul.
Well, he hits the outside top of the ball. This ball's got a ton of hook spin on it. And right here, you already know you're not going to throw it. So you literally gain nothing by touching the baseball right there, unless he's scared that ball's going to scoot down the line and Kojal's going to get to third base. But I thought that was a mental mistake there by Manny Marin to pick that one up.
And so here's Brent Iredale with 2 on and nobody out. Kyle mentioned this earlier, the difference in fielding. Arkansas comes in second best in the country. Tennessee's 150th. And not all fielding mistakes show up in the box score. Baker's dozen home runs for Iredale and a breaking ball over the outer third for a strike.
Both these guys look to be comfortable with their breaking ball here earlier in the ball game. Root and Phillips both breaking ball and changeup we've seen so far from Phillips. Looks to be pretty comfortable with the off-speed stuff. Another changeup. Interesting. You talk about the cat and mouse, Tommy, of facing a team for the second time in 3 weeks. Marcus Phillips comes into this game just throwing 2.5% changeups to right-handed hitters. We've seen a couple to Ryder Helfrich and now one to Brent Iredale.
2-1. Rick Allen not giving the edge. 3 balls and a strike to Iredale, who leads SEC hitters in hit by pitch. Big opportunity for the Hogs here in the second. And he waves right through 95.
3 straight off-speed pitches and then grabs a four-seamer and throws it past Iredale. Probably
repeat
another
that
one
pitch?
here. Yeah, probably another one here, I would think.
Kojal at second, Aloy at first. The payoff. Got him looking.
Iredale had to be looking for something else to take that one, too. I mean, 3-1, he swings through 95. And Phillips comes back, grabs the same thing on the outside third of the plate up in the zone. And Iredale, those hands really never even moved. But big strikeout right there for Phillips. 2 on, nobody out. You're a ground ball away from getting out of it.
Tennessee turned a double play to end the first inning. Here's Reese Robinette. Injuries shuffled the defensive alignment for Arkansas late in the year. That led to more opportunities for Robinette, who looks at a first pitch strike. Sophomore out of Kennett, Missouri. Came to Arkansas camps as a kid. And it was an easy move when Arkansas offered for him to end up in Fayetteville.
He's an interesting prospect because he shows you the frame of, I kind of always think Heston Kjerstad when I see him. He gives you that look, the height of a big, tall, rangy left-handed slugger. The power hasn't come, but the quality of at bat. What we got here?
We got a warning. We're in the second.
That didn't take long.
No, Tony Vitello didn't. I would tell you, too, I think Rick Allen's strike zone so far has been really good. And the misses are not by much on either side, but they have been smaller misses.
What makes a good zone? Because everyone's going to be imperfect.
Call strikes to start. That's the biggest thing that any pitcher wants.
And the 1-1. This is low.
And then that shadow zone that is maybe a ball off on each side, then sometimes you can expect to get that. But my biggest thing is when it is a strike, it is called a strike.
So 2-1 to Robinette, who can do some damage. Playing time came late in the year. And now 3-1 as Phillips misses with the fastball.
And another quality at bat here from Robinette, who we saw Iredale get ahead in the count and not be able to capitalize. This is now back-to-back hitters, 3-1 count. At some point, you feel like one of these Arkansas hitters is going to cash in.
And it's pulled to the right side. Fisher's got it right on top of the bag. 2 down.
Well, that was uncomfortable. That is one of those as a fielder where you are kind of panicked to get that ball before it gets to the base, because if it hits the base, it could bounce anywhere. And a little unlucky there for Arkansas that ball didn't catch a piece of the bag, because Fisher caught it right behind the base. This is right behind. Look, Fisher's not real sure. Then he goes hard at it. This ball just barely makes it past the bag. That could have gone anywhere.
It's already an 18-pitch inning for Marcus Phillips as he faces the 9-hole hitter Justin Thomas Jr. And a breaking ball is waved at. 0-1. Junior from Savannah, Georgia. He started his career at the University of Georgia, then to Florida Southwestern State. And that one kicks off Wallace. Here he comes to the plate. And a beautiful slide by Kojal. Arkansas strikes first on a pitch in the dirt with the second-string catcher in the game for Tennessee.
What a jump. And that's taking a chance right there, too, because Kojal's not waiting to see if that ball gets away. I mean, this is like reading it on first and second base, where you read dirt ball and go. He read dirt ball, had a great secondary to start, Berkey, and then was off and running. Feels like every run's really going to matter today, and Kojal kind of stole one there.
Boy, that was just fearless on Cam Kojal's part. You love to see a base runner make that kind of an instinctive play. And the flags are flying in the hog pen after the Hogs break the seal here and get on the board first.
They hold the lead better than just about anybody in the game. And now the 1-1 to Thomas. The reason Stone Wallace is in this game is Cannon Peebles got ejected late in the game Monday night against Wake Forest for unsportsmanlike acts. He has to serve a 1-game suspension. It's not the first time in the last few years that's happened to Tennessee in the postseason. 2-2. Pulled foul.
Phillips is really landing that breaking ball, KP, and giving these Arkansas hitters a bunch to think about. Talking about a guy that's 95 to 99 with the fastball and has already established all 3 pitches for strikes. Really doing a nice job of changing speeds.
He came into this throwing about 57% fastballs over the course of the season. It feels like he's thrown about the same number of sliders and fastballs today.
Seamer up 3-2. That felt like a big miss.
Well, I think the benefit to throwing as many off-speed pitches is he's put enough doubt in hitters' minds that he gets a little more room for error with the heater.
Wow. And a swing and a miss. 25-pitch inning. The wild pitch allows a run to cross. First 2 reached. One of them came home. We'll talk with the head hog, Dave Van Horn, when we return to Fayetteville. Talks through two. Tom Hart, Chris Burke, Kyle Peterson. Happy to be joined by Arkansas head coach Dave Van Horn. Coach, you just faced this team a few weeks ago. Advantage, disadvantage, pitcher, hitter. How do you break it down?
You know, it's really hard to say. I mean, they're really good. We know a lot about them. They know a lot about us. I think it's just probably a little bit more of an advantage to the pitching than anything. But, you know, you just got to make pitches and got to find a way to, you know, drive in a run here and there. That's going to be the difference.
Dave, you play SEC teams 10 weekends a year. Now you step into a super in this environment, get another one on the other side. In general, in supers, regardless of who's on the other side, how do you prepare your team differently than maybe a normal SEC series?
Yeah, this is at least the third super I've been in where we've faced a team from our league. And, you know, really, I don't think you don't prepare a lot different than regular season. At this time of the year, I mean, we pretty much know what we're doing. They know what they're doing. We just need to make sure we're good at what we do. And, you know, you don't want players thinking, oh, the coach is a little stressed out. We're doing all kinds of crazy stuff right now. So we just play baseball and mentally try to get them ready, get them healthy, rested up, and that's what we've done the last couple weeks.
Dave, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Stone Lawless to the plate after the ground out from Levi Clark. And Lawless with a swing and a miss.
You know, it's interesting, Berkey. I don't know if you noticed this was with Coach Delmonico, but with Coach Marcos, when we got into the postseason, it was a very different feel. It felt like during the regular season, it was meticulous. It was on you for a variety of things. And when we got into the postseason, kind of took his hands off the wheel a little bit more. Like, we've done our job. You guys are ready. Now go play. And it felt like that's what Dave was saying right there.
Yeah, I think you work all year to be here in this spot. And at this spot, you got to let your horses run and really try to enjoy the moment.
Lawless with a chopper to the left side. Vahiva Aloy bounces it over. 2 down. Well, this has always been a proud program here at Arkansas. Their first trip to Omaha came in the late 70s, but under Dave Van Horn, 15 NCAA tournaments. They haven't missed one since 2016, and 4 trips to Omaha before he got here, 7 since.
Yeah, they've really established themselves as one of the premier programs in all of college baseball, and you know it almost feels like a drought that they haven't been to Omaha since 22, which is a compliment for just how consistently Dave Van Horn has taken this program to the College World Series. Of course, we all know that their time to be the last team standing is coming at some point, and I think a lot of people feel like this is as complete of a team as he's had.
Manny Marin's got 3 home runs on the season, big one on Monday night. And he fouls another one off. But when you talk complete, break that down for the viewers.
Well, I think you love their starting pitching. Gage Wood and Zach Ruder, both going to be first-round picks, top 50 picks for sure. And then we talked about the power arms they bring in out of the bullpen. And then offensively, they don't have to get offense from just a couple places in their lineup. There's power up and down the order. The Caboose gang, the 7, 8, 9 guy in the orders, have been great for them all year long. And then they're literally number 1 in the country in fielding percentage. So, KP, I'm not sure how you check more boxes than that.
And you also have one of the best receiving catchers in the country, which doesn't show up in fielding percentage. It does in a lot of other places.
Yeah, so I feel like that's complete, Tommy. You agree?
Yeah, I don't know what you could add to that.
I mean, you know, they're maybe not the most aggressive from a base stealing standpoint, but they don't need to be because they do hit the ball at the ballpark at such a high level.
Well, I think the one thing I would add to that is being a complete program starts with being a complete coaching staff. And you know, 2 of the best assistant coaches among them. Maxwell in the corner, reaches up to haul in the third out. Zach Root is perfect through 3. Well, Marcus Phillips is used to being on the big stage. In fact, he helped his Little League team to Williamsport go back a handful of years, 2017, pitching for South Dakota. Their first ever trip to the Little League World Series. You remember this game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I remember that one. Berkey had him in regionals.
I had him in regionals. He was literally, the phrase, the big kid in Little League? That was Marcus Phillips. He was bigger and badder than everybody at that stage of his life, and I'd say that that has carried him through. He's standing on that mound like a big bad dude these days as well.
He's 6'4", 246, and he said, I've really been playing baseball my whole life, but it wasn't truly organized baseball. His dad, Steve, spent 5 years in the Yankees organization as a player, then 10 years as a coach in the minors, and he said after every game or after every practice, we'd be out in the field, and I'd get some swings in, I'd get some throws in. I learned the game just playing catch with my dad on professional ballparks.
Pretty awesome. And then back to South Dakota. I don't feel like you hear a lot of Pro Bowl guys spend their winters in South Dakota, but what a unique experience that was, I'm sure, growing up playing baseball in that part of the country.
Well, he was very lightly recruited as Charles Davalon sends a line drive into right field. The only offers he had coming out of high school were to Kansas and Iowa Western. Then a few weeks after he committed to junior college at Iowa Western, the entire staff left for Western Kentucky. Stuck with his commitment to go JUCO route. A week into that career, Tennessee called. He made a visit. He bought gear on his first visit, turned to his mom, and he said, I think Knoxville's the place. And now he's got to deal with Vahiba Aloy. Leadoff man has reached all 3 innings against Phillips today. Aloy flew out to right field his first time up. Davalon picked up a bag in the first inning. He walked on 4 pitches in the frame, and then a couple batters later took off for second. We'll see the second of the 3 Golden Spikes Award finalists on the mound tomorrow for Tennessee. That's Liam Doyle. Tipped into the catcher's mitt, 0-2.
That's a healthy hack right there by Vahiba. I mean, that's back-to-back at-bats. We've seen him just come unglued in an 0-1 count. He certainly does not get cheated prior to 2 strikes.
He's cut down on his K rate from last season. And he chases the breaking ball. 3rd strikeout for Phillips.
Yeah, 2 in a row right there. And the pitch before was one that Aloy could do damage on, not this one. This is a good job of Marcus Phillips. Expand the zone when you get to 2-strike count. Know that Aloy is usually going to be aggressive when it at least looks like a strike out of his hand. That one had really good down to it. 3rd strikeout of the game for Phillips.
So here's Logan Maxwell. He's already been to Omaha with TCU a couple of years ago, and he had a great series against Tennessee earlier this year. Finally healthy. In fact, that Tennessee series that closed the regular season was the first time he started all 3 games in a weekend since early April against Georgia. What difference does Maxwell make in the length of this Arkansas lineup?
Well, I think the length, the thump, the quality of AB, but then he also allows them to be left, right, left the way they like to set up their lineup. It makes it very difficult to mix and match out of the bullpen when you face this Arkansas batting order, because they can switch you left, right, left all the way down. And so him getting back and getting healthy has certainly been a catalyst for this team down the stretch. And another one of these great portal pickups that DVH made over the offseason.
Number 1 portal class in the country for Arkansas. What do we got, 4 throws over to first so far?
Yeah, I think the bigger thing, too, that Phillips has done a better job of is just variant looks. So, I mean, pickoffs are one thing, but it's just to vary looks. So from a base runner, I mean, Chris, you stole 50-some in 1 year. If the guy's doing the same thing over and over again, you got a much better chance to get a good jump.
Yeah, I think it's when he picks and more so than how many times he picks. But I think on top of that, what's been impressive about Marcus Phillips here down the stretch is as much attention as he paid to the base runners, he's still throwing a ton of strikes. I think the challenge and the philosophy of Frank Anderson's always been, hey, don't lose the war because you're worried about the battle on the bases, meaning keep your focus always on the hitter. Well, when you're giving up as many stolen bases as he was there for a while, you had to divert some of your attention to the base runner, but it hasn't cost Phillips from a strike throwing standpoint.
Another toss over to keep Davalon close. I think another aspect of Cannon Peebles not being available today for Tennessee is Phillips hasn't thrown to Stone Lawless much during game action. Tennessee shifts the middle of the infield. Big deal or not a big deal?
Well, it matters. Yeah, it absolutely matters. I mean, cadence is different. If your catcher's calling his own game, it's one thing. If the pitching coach, and in this case Frank Anderson's calling more of the game, then at least the cadence will feel the same. But the way catchers set up, the way they frame, ultimately the way they block, which has made a difference in this one, that absolutely matters.
What's Charles Davalon thinking from a base runner perspective after we got 5 throws over right now?
To me, I don't like the count. I'm not stealing 0-2. It's too easy of a, even if it's not a pure pitch out, it's more of a fastball out and away opportunity count.
So if he's not likely to run 0-2, then why is Phillips throwing over so often 0-2?
Well, it's a good question. Usually when you get that many picks, it's because they want to throw a breaking ball.
And it's smoked up the middle. That was a changeup. Davalon ends up at second base, and there's 2 on with 1 out.
So a lot of times, Tommy, when you see a pitcher pay that much attention to a base runner, it's because he's wanting to bounce an off-speed pitch, not the breaking ball there, but the changeup. But he hangs this changeup, and Maxwell, boy, that is 2 rockets. Tommy, you said it. He was locked in against Tennessee the first time. Already 2 barrels in this game, coming off a hot regional. Logan Maxwell is really doing a nice job right there in the heart of this Razorback lineup.
And Frank Anderson, the veteran pitching coach, will make a visit to Phillips. They will call the Hogs with Arkansas threatening in the 3rd.
What's the potato sign? Oh, am I missing something there? What we got
it's a
there?
guy holding a giant potato.
Yeah.
It's a tater. He
What's
wants a tater.
confusing
Okay,
about
there
that?
we go.
He set
All
a
right.
school record in taters this year.
We got there. See, I needed some help there.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart, as you well know. Have you seen the potato sign?
Dude,
before?
they got everything here.
That's- I'm in
and
on
every
that.
year they come up with a few new ones too.
It is quite a scene out there in the hog pen.
Helfrich bounced into a double play his last time up. He was the regional MVP, homered 3 times. The breaking ball misses low and away. I talked to Ryder this week about his struggles last season and how he made it through. And Phillips went to his, did he go to his mouth on the rubber? Is that what that was?
No, they would have balked him if he did that. But
well, Rick Allen went halfway to the mound, but shot something at him. Helfrich said this season's success can be traced back to his summer in the Cape. He hit .261 and led the Cape Cod League with 11 home runs. He said, I finally got a chance to play, and I played every day, and it didn't matter if I went 0 for 4, if I struck out 3 times. I knew I'd be in the lineup, and it really took a lot of pressure off him.
well, even though he was not the everyday starter last year, there was still plenty of buzz. When you talk to this Arkansas coaching staff, it was, hey, he's got a chance to really be the next one. Back half of this season has shown you why.
It was a very frustrating season for Helfrich in many ways last year. Unable to live up to that promise, and in for a strike, 3-1.
Well, I think you got to give the coaching staff a bunch of credit too, Tommy, that even though he struggled as a freshman, they did not go out and recruit over him in the portal. They made a bunch of portal acquisitions, but they still trusted him to be the guy.
2 on in front of him, the 3-1. Almost hit him. In fact, it did, and they will pull on their beer hats because the bases are loaded with 1 out. I don't think it's just the bases.
I would suspect not.
Cam Kojal has 15 home runs on the season. He singled and scored Arkansas's lone run in the second, and a huge opportunity for the Hogs here in the third. Started him off speed, 1-0.
The misses for Phillips until the last few hitters have been very small today. Those misses have been a little bit bigger in this inning.
Takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1.
Well, one of the themes with Phillips throughout the course of the year is struggling second and third time through an order. As you see, Tennessee's got Krenzel up and hot, Dylan Lloyd down there as well. So Tennessee, the leash won't be too long here.
Bounce up the middle, chance for 2. Keelan will step on the bag and throw to first. And Tennessee gets out of trouble again. Second double play turn by the Volunteers this afternoon. They hold the Hogs scoreless in the third. We'll talk with Tony Vitello next. Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Tennessee's infield has turned a pair of double plays in this game so far, and that one smothered a would-be Arkansas rally as the Hogs had the bases loaded with only 1 out. Gavin Keelan's the man who made the play, and he leads off the fourth for Tennessee. Keelan 0 for 1 with a ground out to second, and he stands in from the left side. And down in the Tennessee dugout, Tony Vitello kind enough to put a headset on for us. And the first pitch breaking ball in for a strike. Tony, thanks for joining us. What are you seeing from Marcus Phillips through the first 3 innings?
A couple 2-strike mistakes, a couple pitch-out mistakes too. I don't know if you guys can see that from the camera angle, but a couple pitch-outs that were mislocated and then a couple 2-strike pitches that were located. But, you know, if you could remove those, which you're not allowed to, it certainly would be a lot juicier of a day. But no matter who's on the mound for us, against this lineup, there'll be damage at some point of some kind, and he's been able to limit that a little bit despite those mistakes.
Tony, now second time going through the order. What are the conversations you guys are having about making adjustments with Root?
There haven't been many as it relates to the coaching staff. I mean, somebody mentioned it yesterday, it's baseball, every day's new, and the plan isn't much different than it was the first time, and we had as much success, as anybody can against a guy like this. But today, Gav's a little out front, and then Fish just misses one, and then since then it really hasn't been good. So you'd like to think second time through, the conversations that they are having, because the players have been talking. I don't see anything crazy. I mean, we've had about 4 or 5 guys out front, but also he's gotten in on a couple guys too. So he's good for a reason. He likes to compete. So you better like to compete when you get in the box as well.
Tony, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Sorry for the delay. Have a small bladder.
He never fails to deliver.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Gavin Keelan
Nature.
only saw one pitch his first time up, and now the 2-2 is banged up the middle. Kojal backhands. And one down. Zach Root has retired all 10 batters he's faced. This is a huge change from the first time he faced Tennessee.
Yeah, you can't be much better than Root's been now 10 hitters into this game. The other thing is he's getting a bunch of ground balls. For a guy that likes to elevate fastball and the breaking ball behind it, we haven't seen as many changeups today, but the changeup can really be plus. But his first time through the order, he had 5 ground ball outs, a couple strikeouts, and 2 fly ball outs. And then a rollover right there from Keelan.
The real damage that Tennessee did against Root a few weeks ago came in second trip through the order in the battle of the bottom half of the lineup. And a first pitch curveball in for a strike to Andrew Fisher, 0-1. 24 home runs on the season for Fisher. One ball, one strike. Andrew Fisher feels like the power plant for this Tennessee team as a whole.
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous amount of momentum that he brings to the dugout when he does his thing, which is get on base. He leads the conference in walks, leads the conference in OPS. Literally has had one of the best seasons in all of college baseball. And I think this feels like, kind of one of those catalyst at bats as he's looking into his dugout right now and drawing the ire of the crowd, because I think he knows that. He knows the weight that he carries with being the catalyst for this offense.
I talked to Andrew this week, and I asked him about the attitude and the personality, and it was just a very down-to-earth conversation about it. And he said, did Tony push the team early in the season? He said, he told us we didn't have enough personality, so he challenged us to push the limits. He said, let's just be the villain. That's all Andrew Fisher needed. He said, I'm going to play with personality. Grew up a huge Yankees fan, and he said, it took a little while for my dad to adjust the personality. He would shake his head and say, Derek Jeter would never do that. Late on 95, and if you're going to work the crowd, they're going to work you.
As Mike Rooney would say, he spent the whole dollar right there on that swing. That was a vicious hack by the Tennessee first baseman.
They don't get cheated. Root beats him with 98. And they love to boo a villain.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you also pay attention when you're standing 60 feet away. That is the best fastball that Zach Root has thrown today from a velocity standpoint. It's not even close. 98 elevated after going up the ladder at 95 to get the count to 3-2. I would say that he's got the good stuff today, Brookie.
Yeah, he climbed the ladder. The exact place you have to go to get Andrew Fisher after being behind in the count. What a incredible sequence of pitches right there by Root.
And after 98, he starts Ensley off with the breaking ball. Just miss. 101.
Man, there's a lot to like about both these offenses, but it's a lot of fun to watch 2 first-round picks go pitch for pitch. Clearly, Root has been more efficient than Phillips to this point in the game, but both these guys have really been impressive to this point.
Couple of shakes of Helfrich. And now the 1-1. Oh, so we know Tennessee's got its ace, Liam Doyle, going tomorrow, and we also know that 79% of Game 1 winners win the Super. But my question, a little bit more detail for this Super, who was Game 1 most important to for the breakdown tonight?
I mean, I still think it's Arkansas because it's Doyle tomorrow. But Gage Wood is pretty good on their side, too, tomorrow.
And so Zach Root trying to get him there. And a fly ball deep right field. Maxwell to the fence. Got it. And Zach Root remains perfect through 4. Arkansas with a 1-0 lead. NCAA Baseball Super Regional coverage continues this weekend across all of our ESPN platforms. ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN Plus. For more information, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Duke took Game 1 at home against Murray State 7-4. LSU outslugged West Virginia, won by a touchdown. Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, will get started at Jackie Robinson Stadium. UCLA and UTSA. Cuyo Aloy sends a chopper to the right side. Fisher's got it on the first pitch. And there's one down.
How about the Shants, boys? Coastal out away at Auburn. From becoming the first team to qualify for the College World Series this year. I haven't been back there since they won it all in 16.
Undefeated through the postseason to this point.
Here's Brent Iredale, first Super Regional hosted by Auburn, and the crowds at Plainsman Park have been amazing.
Yeah.
And a breaking ball low and away from the junior from Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. First Australian baseball player in school history. So they had to add a flag to that. What was the flag count out in the hog pen that you had pregame?
Like the number of flags?
Oh, the different flags.
Oh, there they are right there.
Yeah.
You had Canada, Hawaii, and Australia.
Nobody does a better job of celebrating their players and the uniqueness of their roster than this group here at Baum-Walker.
Every year.
Incredible.
They're always going to come up with new stuff based on who it is. There's some old reliables.
Kangaroos with lays on them.
Iredale smokes this one to left field. One out single for the 7-hole hitter. He struck out looking at a fastball last time up, and now he delivers. And it keeps the line moving for Reese Robinette. Robinette is from the Missouri Boot Heel, Kennett, Missouri, but his dad is from just across the state line of Pocahontas, Arkansas. Well, it made perfect sense for him to make his home in Northwest Arkansas. Grew up a Cardinals fan. Big Matt Holliday and Albert Pujols fan. It was interesting. I was talking to both him and Ryder Helfrich at the same time this week, and oh, that was close. Robinette was talking about his favorite Cardinals, and he said, I was a Holliday fan, then he left. I was a Pujols fan, and then he left. And Helfrich was like, I don't want to hear it. I'm an A's fan. They all leave all the time. What do you see from Iredale's lead?
Well, he clearly was making a move, and 7 for 8. The big third baseman's kind of sneaky over there. 7 for 8 on the season, stealing bases. So I think that got Tennessee's attention, the way he flinched on the pick move from Phillips.
Hold foul, 1-1. Fans are screaming to throw it back after Fisher
Look at this.
gave it
Look
to
at
him.
this. Oh, wow.
There it is.
He did. We don't want your gifts.
This is outstanding.
I have long contended that the best way to get a crowd on your side is to give them a baseball, but apparently not here, not today. That I don't think I've ever seen a fan base return a. I've seen plenty of
Home run
homers,
balls,
right?
yeah.
Plenty of homers, not a ball tossed in after a foul ball.
Bunts pushed up the third base line and foul. How about this Arkansas team trying to play some small ball, huh?
Well, and they were giving it to him. If Robinette gets it down right there, it's definitely a base hit just based on where Merritt was playing.
Well, I mean, you already have one if you're Arkansas. It certainly has the feel of a game that might only take 3 or 4 to win. So I think every opportunity you have to advance 90 feet and move a runner into scoring position, especially if you know you can get a knockout of it, feels like a little bit higher percentage play than maybe most days where these teams are thinking about scoring double digits.
The last time these two starting pitchers went head-to-head, game 1 of the series a few weeks ago, there were 17 runs and 30 hits combined in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee won it 10-7. It was a game decided generally by the bullpens. Neither starting pitcher lasted long. 95 past Robinette. 4th K for Phillips.
It is easy velocity for him. And we've seen him higher this year. I mean, we've seen him up 98, 99. So the fastball hasn't ticked up quite as much. But grab that. And a little bit of cut spin on it, too. I mean, it just stayed on the outside corner and didn't go anywhere.
Once again, the home plate umpire, Rick Allen, is motioning to Marcus Phillips with his hand in front of his mouth.
Yeah, he's definitely, and he called it ball 1, so I guess he's
He called one there.
yeah.
He had warned him in the previous inning. Runner on the move, breaking ball, and the throw is high at second base. And a swipe for Iredale, his 8th and 9 attempts this year.
So that's just being on top of the mound because he's not doing it on the rubber. He's just doing it on top of the mound. But you're right, Tommy. He's called him on that twice, and the first time looked like he warned him, and then that last time he called it a ball.
Here's the 1-1. Pulled to the left side. Keelan's got it. And a beautiful dig by Fisher over at first. See what he does with this ball. No runs, a hit, 1 man left on. That's 5 stranded through 4 for Arkansas. From Fayetteville, Arkansas, these two teams are 2 wins and 423 miles away from the promised land, Omaha, Nebraska. Men's College World Series begins Friday. Coastal Carolina is in. The Chanticleers sweep Auburn, taking the first 2, and they'll be in Omaha for the first time since Garrett Gilmore won it all in 2016.
Pretty impressive. Kevin Schnall and his group, number 2 in the country in ERA, and to hold that Auburn bunch to 1 run in their own building is quite the impressive pitching and defense performance, and that's what they've built their reputation on this year. Now 23 straight wins. They are 52-11, KP.
They had line drive double plays to get out of the 9th and the 10th inning last night to win game 1 6-5 in what was, I mean, it was early into the morning, but an awesome baseball game.
You think they ended up at Little Italy after the game? They're open late.
Quick turn today.
Yeah, fair. Ball in his strike to Dalton Bargo, who was 0 for 1. Struck out looking his first time up, and now just 1 for his last 17. And he rips it off the glove of Robinette. Karams into foul territory. And they'll hold Bargo to just a single.
That ball had some funky spin. I don't know if it was knuckling or just hooking that bad, KP, but you could tell Robinette kind of got handcuffed by a ball that was hit 104 miles an hour. I think he just top spun it, KP. Man, he almost looked late with his glove there, didn't he?
Yeah, he flipped it. It got up there late and just off. And for, you know, Arkansas's got 6 hits in the game. They've left some guys on base. Tennessee's turned a few double plays. Doesn't necessarily feel like a 1-0 game because Arkansas has been the only offense up to this point, but yet first base runner of the game in the 5th inning for Tennessee, and it's still only 1-0.
And it comes on the first error of the season charge to Reese Robinette, and first pitch strike to Dean Curley.
I guess you got to go E3 there. That ball is scorched, but I guess just strictly from the fact that he did not have to really move to make the play. Well, KP, you bring up a great point. I mean, this game has felt in command by Arkansas. Right. They've clearly had the most scoring opportunities and 6 hits to none still at this point. Yet Tennessee 1 swing away in a ballpark that feels like it's playing home run friendly from having a lead. Margins are very slim right now for Mr. Root.
Garland's got 13 home runs on the season. Just missed.
It's also the first time they got him in the stretch. And now see if stuff changes at all for Root. It's not very often you go an hour and a half into your start, you haven't had to throw a pitch out of the stretch.
And remember, this was the time that Tennessee started to figure out Root last time. It was the second trip through the order and the bottom half of the order.
Well, you don't get many situations that stack up better for you right there after a missed off speed pitch. Dean Curley now on a 3-1 count with a leadoff runner already aboard. Oh, man. And that just looks like a take all the way, doesn't it? Really surprising there from Dean Curley. Again, on a day where you feel like a home run, a multi-run home run could be the deciding factor. To not get your swing off there feels like a really big missed opportunity.
Curley grounded out to short his first time at the plate. Bargo not likely to run. He's 3 for 5 on the year. Sent into the jet stream in left center field. Davalon and Thomas both back at the fence. It is gone! Two-run home run, Dean Curley, and Tennessee hops in front in the 5th.
Who needs a 3-1 heater when you can sit on a 3-2 breaking ball? And that's exactly what we've been talking about. A ball that didn't look like he caught all of it, got up in that jet stream you were talking about, Tommy, and that thing just sailed into the left center field seats.
It brings Reese Chapman up. It came off the bat at a 33-degree angle.
You know what, for two guys that last weekend did not have great offensive weekends, Bargo and Curley. Bargo, and I know it goes as an error, but it was 104 off the bat to get things started, and Curley runs one out of here to totally flip the script in one swing.
Just a 7th home run allowed by Root this season. Now 1-1 to Chapman.
It's interesting, just showing right there. Forced Arkansas to play more straight up. They were in a full shift, had pulled the third baseman to the second base side, now playing almost straight up.
Bottom edge of the zone for a strike, 1-2. Tony Vitello loves it. He's working them even when he's not directly working them.
Good take there by Reese Chapman. One of the things you've got to be able to do when you face a guy like Root who's running up there 95, 97 miles an hour, you got to be able to put on the brakes late. That's a breaking ball there that Chapman almost offered at, but was able to hold off just at the last second.
Chapman out on strikes. Here's Dean Curley's swing.
Well, it felt like Dean Curley missed an opportunity taking a 3-1 heater. But how about sitting back on a 3-2 breaking ball? And Curley, it looked like he went into the slow trot after this one. Backspin a ball up in the air to the left side of the field here today at Baum Walker. And you do not have to rush around the bases. Just like that, Tennessee just one hit in the ball game. Now grabs the lead here in the top of the 5th.
First pitch to Levi Clark misses, 1-0. 129th home run of the season for Tennessee as a team, 3rd most in the country. Clark sent one back up the middle for a ground out his first time up. And does it again, right back at Root. 2 down.
Just hard to believe either one of these pitchers can get through these lineups 2 or 3 times without somebody getting one airborne to the left side of the field today. We've seen a couple balls caught close to the wall and right, one to deep center, but that's really the first ball that either team has gotten airborne to left, and you can see how much opportunity there is to do damage.
And so Stone Lawless with a chance here. First pitch breaking ball. Caught the bottom of the zone, 0-1. Home run from Curley. It was his 14th of the season. Lawless is a redshirt freshman out of Huntsville, Alabama, Huntsville High School. And he looks at a strike at 95. He was a top 5 recruit in the state of Alabama coming out of high school, also their starting quarterback. 6'2", 219. Majoring in forensic anthropology. I think he'll take an internship at the Body Farm, maybe?
Anthropology.
Well,
we got into that a few weeks ago.
That's KP's major. Yeah. Big anthropology guy.
Yeah.
Strike 3 called. He's punched out on one that was out of the zone, and Tony Vitalo hands on hips after that one. Root made a mistake on a curveball, and Tennessee made him pay.
One swing can make a real big difference, especially if it looks like this. Fargo reaches to start the inning. Dean Curley rides his 14th of the year out of here. Just one hit so far for the Vols, but a 2-1 lead.
Final two, Tennessee and A&M with a national championship on the line. That ball is hammered high. What a start for the Vols. Rounding and coming home. We got to play at the plate. Safe at the plate.
Hunter Inslee just pulls a Houdini act.
Swing and a miss for the first time. Rocky Top reaches the mountaintop. They are the World Series champions.
Well, Dean Curley and his Tennessee Volunteers are trying to repeat. 2-run home run for him in the top of the fifth inning. Now, in 3.5 games at this ballpark, Dean Curley's 7 for 14 with 2 home runs. Think he likes playing here?
I think he's okay showing up, especially when it looks at that flagpole like he did today before batting practice.
Here's Charles Davalon to lead off the 5th for Arkansas, and a first pitch strike for Marcus Phillips. Third trip through the order for Phillips. Davalon walked on 4 pitches in the first, and he singled to the right side in the third. Where does Phillips go next in his approach, third trip through the order?
He was throwing the changeup a little bit more early. See if he goes to it a little bit later on. That was a pretty good pitch right there, by the way. I do think for Phillips, too, he hasn't had his best stuff from a location standpoint, but he's got a 2-1 lead at this point. And that's when you can really see the maturation on the mound, is not the days you go out there with your A stuff all the way around. Your ability to keep your ball club in it when maybe it's not ideal. His stuff's been very good.
Yeah.
We've seen his fastball better this year than it has been today. He has controlled the breaking ball pretty well within the zone and then expanded when he's wanted to. But he's taken some punches and hung in there. I mean, Arkansas has had at least one guy on it every inning, but there's only 1 run on the board.
And he pulls this one to Fisher. He'll take it himself. One down. Sunday Night Baseball is in the Bronx this weekend as the Red Sox take on the Yankees. Yanks got game 1 last night, 9-6. We'll look for the sweep of a Red Sox team which has lost 9 of 12. Sunday Night Baseball, Red Sox-Yankees, Sunday at 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio.
Did you see Bregman shave his mustache mid-game the other day?
No.
I mean, he's not playing. He's on the IL, but had a mustache to start. And offense hadn't been going great for the Red Sox lately. And then about the 5th inning, it was gone. Just out of there.
Rally
Time to
shave
make a
piece.
change.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, surely your facial hair could impact your teammates' ability to score runs.
Everyone knows that.
Yep.
Well, a few years ago, he wouldn't have even had facial hair anyway. 1-1 to Eloy, SEC Player of the Year. Andrew Benintendi won it in 2015. Backhanded. Keelan. 2 down.
Nice play. Those are tough ones to keep your nose down. That ball hit over 100 miles an hour to your backhand. Natural surface. Nice job there by the Tennessee shortstop hanging in there on that one. This is an easy one to peek on, Tommy. This is the one that as it's scorched to you, you don't have time to get around it, and you're just making sure you finish the catch. Keelan keeps his nose down and takes care of a very difficult chance there across the diamond.
What do you mean peak as Logan Maxwell stands in?
Well, you get just a little nervous about a ball coming that hard at you with some topspin that last hop might bound up and come towards your noggin. So yeah, you peek a little bit. Maybe the eyes leave the catch, but that did not happen there with Gavin Keelan.
Off the face mask of Lawless on a pitch in the dirt, 2-0. We think, by the way, we figured out what Rick Allen, the home plate umpire, was signaling to Marcus Phillips, and that it was that he wasn't engaging the hitter. Just an odd way to signal that to Phillips.
Yeah, it was starting before the hitter engaged him. So ultimately, on the mound with the pitch clock, you got to wait until the hitter can get in there as late as 8 seconds to go on the pitch clock, but the hitter has to engage, so look towards the pitcher. If the pitcher starts a movement towards home plate, then ultimately they can call a ball. He had done it twice. The first they warned him, the second called a ball, and now Maxwell works a 2-out walk here in the 5th.
It's the second 4-pitch walk of the game issued by Phillips, and it brings the red-hot Ryder Helfrich to the plate.
And still no 1-2-3 frames by Phillips.
Helfrich's hit 13 home runs. He's driven in 34. And he tattoos this one to left field. Bargo deep in the corner at the fence, and it's gone! It just sneaks over for Helfrich. A 2-out, 2-run home run, and the Hogs are back in front. Seven home runs and 145 at-bats until, well, the last 2 dozen. He's homered 6 times. It's a true power surge for the Arkansas catcher.
You talk about catching a heater. Ryder Helfrich is on one serious run right now. That wasn't the farthest home run of his career, but plenty to give the Hogs the lead back.
Back-to-back changeups to Cam Kozel, 0-2.
You don't see a lot of home runs leave the bat at 84 miles an hour. that happened right there for Helfrich. Just hit it in the right spot on the right day.
Just off the plate, 1-2. I think it surprised Bargo, too. He thought he had a play on it.
Well, you could tell that it wasn't a great sound. You could tell he caught it towards the end of the bat. It had that kind of hollow sound to it. And Bargo clearly had a beat on it. It's just, again, it is the type of day where if you can just get the ball airborne with some sort of steam behind it, clearly you got a chance to run one out of here.
Kozel caught looking, but first, Ryder Helfrich.
Well, 2 outs, nobody on. And a 4-pitch walk, and Ryder Helfrich, who has been on a heater for the last month, does this. Got a breaking ball and just got enough. Rode the jet stream out to left. 2-run shot gives the Hogs a lead back. 14th of the year for Helfrich, and a 3-2 Arkansas lead.
Teams trade a pair of 2-run home runs in the 5th inning, and Arkansas reclaims the lead. It's 3-2 Hogs here, game 1 of a 3-game series. And on this Super Saturday, Arkansas back in front with Manny Marin leading off the 6th. And Zach Root drops in a breaking ball for strike 1. Marin hit a big home run in the middle innings. You see Arkansas bullpen getting to work. Gabe Gackel is the righty. Cole Gibbler is the lefty. Gibbler, excuse me. And Marin pops this one up to shallow right. Late jump from Maxwell. Gets there in time. 1 down.
Root making it look pretty easy. Getting ahead, changing speeds, still plenty to get in on some of these Tennessee hitters when he needs to. And these are the 2 guys that Tennessee needs to get going here in this ball game. So far, Keelan and Fisher have both been retired in each of their appearances. Certainly big part of the game plan to slow this Tennessee offense down.
Root was the number 2 starter at East Carolina last year. That's nothing to be ashamed of. The number 1 starter, Trey Savage, went 20th overall to the Blue Jays. And now Root, in his first year with Arkansas, has real draft helium. And he's showing why today. 0-2.
Yeah, we got some arms in this series. You got some big leaguers. Phillips has got a great chance to pitch for a long time. Root does as well. Both starters tomorrow. Plenty that roll out of the bullpen.
Missed with 97, 1-2.
That's been the interesting thing about Root here in this one. He's grabbed some 2-strike heaters. Seen some 93, 94 earlier in the count. We've seen 97, 98 with 2 strikes.
Keelan 0 for 2 today. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Twice the Tennessee shortstop has grounded out to second base. They'll play deciding game 3 tomorrow in Louisville, between Miami and Louisville, and also in Chapel Hill between Arizona and North Carolina. We got game one here today. And the curveball off.
It is. Not off by much, and I know Zach Root wants this, but
I don't think Zach Root agrees with you, Kyle.
no, his facial expression, body expression, and then arm expression would indicate that he didn't.
And now the payoff. It's a one-out walk to Keelan, brings Fisher up. That brings Matt Hobbs, the Arkansas pitching coach, out.
Boy, it feels like Root's reaction, guys, is obviously he's frustrated he didn't get the previous pitch, but then really disappointed there on a ball that hung to the inner third. I think a lot of that has to do with who's coming up, right? The last thing you want to do is walk somebody with Andrew Fisher due up, and I think some of that frustration hinges on that.
I also think it's a really good time for Matt Hobbs to go out there.
Yeah.
When you see those reactions on those pitches that are 50-50 calls on the first one, not the last one, good time just to have him take a breather.
Well, Andrew Fisher coming up, who never disappoints from an entertainment standpoint. And his second at bat, he takes a pitch, spits at his teammates, and then all Root does is go blow by for strike two and strike three. Then he lets him know about it. Goes with the old Paul Skeens, get out of here. Some not so friendly words that Tom says to me sometimes. And it is always juicy when Andrew Fisher is at the ballpark, and he's really gained a following here in his few at-bats, guys. It seems like the hometown fans have really taken a liking to him.
That's what you call it.
The walk to Keelan was the first walk in 58 batters faced by Arkansas pitching. Well, if you want to know about Andrew Fisher's ego, consider that he ran into Mariano Rivera when he was in grade school, and he's a huge Yankees fan. So he wanted a picture for Mariano, and he said, "I'll trade you for my autograph."
Did he get it?
Yeah. I don't know if Mariano got his autograph. The pitch is low, 2-0.
A little bit more muted on that take there.
Longest active streak in Division I. He's reached base safely in every game this year. And final five of last year. 3-0. Just being too careful right now?
Boy, it feels like it. You know, part of it, he's only 77 pitches in, but I do think there's an emotional toll of pitching in a game like this and being as sharp as he was to start the ball game. You just wonder, maybe there's a little bit of fatigue here with Root.
Well, if Fisher figures he's going to get another fastball, he's going to swing out of his shoes.
Well,
what do you think he gets?
Well, he made him swing and miss twice in a row last time in a 3-1, 3-2 count. If you go
Both
heater,
were
though,
elevated.
yeah,
You
you
better
got to
go
keep
up.
it above the belly button.
And he did, 3-2. Now what? Same, just higher?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it right now. If it don't broke, then you probably shouldn't either. But
Here we
in
go.
any case, I'd hang with it.
One-run game. Grounded to the right side. Kojo goes to second for one. Back to first. And a 4-6-3 double play. And Root is all sorts of fired up. And again, Zach Root wins the battle with Andrew Fisher.
Well, I tell you what, it is getting spicy, boys. 4-6-3 Aloy with a big league turn. And Zach Root is all kind of fired up, folks.
All right, Dari, thanks. While we're at break, the umpires met with both head coaches. They gave a warning to both sides. Tony thought he was at a comedy club. He said it was a joke in so many words.
Well, I think the series
gonna
is
be
now
boring.
begun. Yeah, we have warnings on each side.
Kuhio Aloy at the plate. He is 1 for 2. And a breaking ball low and away.
America gets to see Rock Chalowski tonight, which is awesome. I mean, we talk about the shortstops, obviously. Kuhio Aloy, Vahiva Aloy, one of the best in the country, but the kid out in Westwood's pretty darn good himself.
Well, we said it was very clear early on it was the year of the shortstop, and 2 of the 3 are Golden Spikes finalists with Alex Lodis and Vahiva Aloy. Rock Chalowski was certainly another great candidate that could have been a finalist, but lost out to Liam Doyle. There are so many great shortstops this year. Chalowski right there at the top of the list.
2-2 to Aloy, who singled his first time up. And a ground ball picked up by Phillips. Let's take you back to the end of the inning after Root got Fisher to hit into a double play to end the frame. And Zach Root not shy about his emotions. As a result of this outburst, the umpires got together and decided they were going to warn both sides.
Yeah, I understand a warning to Root. In that case, I'm not sure that I totally understand it. Maybe you're just going to warn both benches that you cover everything at that point. That was
Tony didn't.
Do you even
seem
call
to
that
agree.
a discussion? Was that
No.
a discussion? It was fairly one-sided.
Iredale fits one through the left side for his second knock of the game. And so go back to that. You think that should have only been a warning to Root?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can think what you want about the Soto take earlier in the game, but the reality is Fisher he didn't really said anything. And Root kind of lost it for a minute. I mean, Helfrich may have saved it. Helfrich grabbed him by the shirt and started pulling him off the field.
After the Australian gets a hit. And from the boot heel stands in. And Iredale back to the bag. Tennessee is happy to wear the villain hat and to play that role. They have individual players that feel that way. They have a head coach that feels that way. There was a great article and an interview that Ryan McGee did with Tony Vitello this week that's on ESPN.com. And Tony, in summary, said, I don't really care what people think. And he coaches with a chip on his shoulder. Here's my question as far as the umpires today. Do you think that reputation caused a warning for both sides?
It didn't help. That's for sure. I mean, go all the way back to the second inning. They warned Tony about balls and strikes in the second inning. So umpires know when they have a Tennessee team. And listen, I mean, Tony's fiery, and plenty of times he's fiery and didn't do anything to potentially get run out of a ball game. But they're definitely aware of what's coming out of that dugout, maybe more so than you would be walking into any other game.
I do think there's an argument, though, for Root's outburst was clearly over the top. And to this point, Tennessee hadn't done anything that would be on par with that.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Tennessee will go to the bullpen. It'll be the end of the line for Marcus Phillips after 5 1/3. And the left-hander Dylan Loy will enter with 1 on and 1 out. 8 years ago today, Tony Vitello left Arkansas as an assistant to Dave Van Horn to take the job on Rocky Top. And they're making him feel like a visitor today. Phillips hands the game ball to Loy, and it's the first call to the bullpen for either side, with Arkansas leading by 1. All smiles for the Razorback faithful. Marcus Phillips, 5 1/3, threw 94 pitches, 8 hits and 3 earned, and he hands the ball off to Dylan Loy.
Loy filled a little bit different role to start for Tennessee last week in the opener role, and then they brought him back in the bullpen later on. But 32nd appearance, outstanding against left-handers this year for Loy. It's a fastball that will be 90, maybe a tick above. But that slider, particularly against left-handers, has been outstanding. I think he was good, man.
He was.
I think he was good. I think in this environment, in this offensive environment, he's given them a real chance to win.
And Robinette strokes the first to the right side. It gets under the glove of Curley. And Arkansas has got runners at first and second with 1 out. That was not a hard hit ball. Did that make it tougher for Curley?
And it almost looked like some topspin. It looked like he thought he was going to catch that ball on his feet. And then as he got to it, that ball really dove down and just got underneath his glove. A ball that really hung in the air a while. It felt like he was going to get to it. Watch, it just gets below him.
Yeah, in a game this tight, you have to get an out there. I don't think you turn it 2, but you got to get an out right there.
It was like he was late to decide to go down and catch that thing, and because of that, he wasn't able to make a play that I think he probably feels like he should have made.
It's just the 6th hit in 50 at-bats for lefties against Dylan Loy. And Tony Vitello was trying to play the matchups. Justin Thomas's number is much better against lefties. And so Tennessee will make another change. Tennessee will turn to Braden Krenzel out of the bullpen with 2 on and 1 out. It's College World Series comes your way from Omaha on Friday. Think it'll ever get back to Kalamazoo?
It doesn't feel like it right now.
Yeah,
no,
I
I think
so.
it's on a pretty good run in the Ha, Tommy. That's where it's at.
The hop.
Duke's 1 win away. LSU is 1 win away. This is our side of the bracket for Arkansas and Tennessee. It'll be the right side. Braden Krenzel will face a 9-hole hitter, Justin Thomas, freshman from Dublin, Ohio, 6'3", right-hander. He threw really well last week.
He was good, man. He was good. He's been good for him in the second half, and the role has grown as the season has gone on. It's low 90s fastball, will bump up 94, 95 with a really good slide. Swing and miss against that slider to both righties and lefties is above 50% this year.
Back-to-back singles from Iredale and Robinette, and now Justin Thomas Jr. in the 9-hole, and the first pitch low, 1-0.
Krenzel giving up or his outs, I should say, the primary goal for Krenzel, trying to get the ball hit on the ground, kind of a classic sinker slider, changeup guy, and 57% of the results against him this year on the ground. Perfect time here to bring him in and try to get a 5-4-3, 6-4-3.
Tennessee's already turned a pair of double plays in this game. Tony Vitello's team had only turned 32 in the entire season. 63 games coming into today. And it's lifted to shallow right field. Chapman on the run, makes a catch. 2 down.
That was a really nice piece of hitting there by Justin Thomas Jr. Got inside of that one and punched in right field. Looked like it was going to find green grass, and Reese Chapman just had a perfect jump on that ball. But you love the approach there from Justin Thomas Jr. to stay inside that sinker and try to use the backside of the field, a ball that he almost hit too well and hung up just long enough for Chapman to make a play on it.
So here's Charles Davalon. What do you like about his game?
Everything. I think there's the hit tool, the bat to ball. I mean, you look at just how low the swing and miss totals are. Tony V going back to the bullpen, and this makes sense. I mean, the one thing that Tennessee's bullpen has evolved into down the stretch is they can mix and match, and Brandon Arvidsson has become a real weapon. He looks like he's going to get his number called here against the left-handed hitting Davalon.
Arvidsson was a strikeout machine during the regional round. And Tony taking his time before making the call to the bullpen.
What's interesting is Davalon actually has a higher OPS versus left-handers. How about this, boys? He's hitting .459 versus lefties. So this is really a play for banking on Arvidsson's stuff more so than the matchup.
Another pitching change for Tennessee. Arvidsson will be their 4th of the game. Back in a moment. Down here in Fayetteville, we'll send you to UFC 316. Prelims begin at 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus in English and Spanish. And a main card at 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. Buy it at espnplus.com/PPV.
Summarize it, Tommy.
Well, this one could be a UFC fight, the way we've seen some energy in this one. Tennessee hit a go-ahead home run in the 5th inning. A 2-run shot. Arkansas answered with one of their own in the bottom of the 5th. And then since then, the tempo has slowed with Volunteers going back and forth to the bullpen. Zach Root has struck out 5 and walked 1. And what's been a solid start for the Razorback lefty. Here's Arvidsson. He's from Dripping Springs, Texas. They call it that, KP, because the springs there drip, not the limestone formation. But you already knew that. Then he went to San Jack for a couple of years before making his way to Knoxville.
I did know that, Tom, but thank you for letting America know right now. The role of Arvidsson has grown more over the season as well. And you talked about the strikeouts last week. It's a left-on-left slider that will match up with anybody. Berkey, you said it. Interesting kind of back and forth here. The Davalon has handles lefties really well this year. So has Arvidsson on the mound.
Who wins this matchup? And the first pitch is served into left field. Irondale's going to score. The throw will come into second. And Davalon sits on the first pitch. Got exactly what he expected.
That is scouting report and just selling out for a first pitch slide. The numbers for Arvidsson against left-handers this year, he throws more sliders than fastballs. Davalon took a chance with the first one, Berkey, and it worked.
Long conversation with Nate Thompson. Tommy, you asked me what I liked about Davalon. How about this? How about the ability to sit on? Watch this little helicopter finish. A la David Ortiz. It doesn't get much prettier than that. Sit on a breaking ball, release the top hand so you don't roll it over, and here come the Hogs.
Either Big Papi or Petey Pablo, one way or another, he swung it around his head. And here's Vahiva Aloy, and first pitch just up to Aloy. Arkansas's last 4 hits have come on the first pitch of each of those 4 plate appearances. It's like they know what they're getting. Vahiva Aloy is 0 for 3 so far today. And he rides this one deep right field. It is caught at the wall by Chapman. What a play to end the inning and keep the Volunteers within striking distance.
Hey now. Hey now, just when it looked like the Hogs were about to gain some separation, Vahiva Aloy stretches this one out to right, and Reese Chapman takes away extra bases from the Arkansas slugger. That is climbing the ladder right there, folks. A ball that looked destined to be a 3-run homer ends up being the end of the inning.
KP, Vahiva Aloy thought this one was gone. It may not have left the yard, but Chapman, a nice play nonetheless.
If he hits it to left today, it is gone. But what wind there is going to blow it to the big part of the ballpark, and there are game-changing plays defensively. And that was one right there for Reese Chapman. I don't think it was leaving, but it was definitely going to hit off the wall, and with 2 outs, it's going to score 2 more runs. Instead, Vahiva Aloy just robbed of extra bases, and that catch keeps it a 2-run game.
There have been numerous scoring opportunities for Arkansas that have either failed to develop or didn't blow up. Hit into a double play with 2 on in the first, hit into a double play with the bases loaded in the third, and that one handled at the wall by Chapman in the 6th. Keeps it a 2-run game as Hunter Ensley stands in.
Well, we talk about Tennessee's defense being the number 150 fielding percentage in the country coming into this weekend, but their defense, Tommy, as you just detailed, their defense has kept them in this ball game to this point. The ability to turn ground balls into double plays, and then Chapman there to rob extra bases.
Well, both sides are ultra aggressive right now. Ensley swings at the first two, and a recap of the 6th inning. Arkansas sent 6 batters to the plate to face 3 different pitchers, and there was a total of 12 pitches in the inning. Ensley 0 for 2. He struck out and he flew out, and he goes down swinging on that one. Helfrich applies a tag to finish it.
I was interested to see what Root would look like coming out here in the 7th, because one, it's an emotional high when you're going off the last inning. Then you sit for probably 10, 15 minutes, goes back out and throws 2 of his better breaking balls of the game. Ensley can't hold off for Zach Root, his 6th strikeout today.
Shadows starting to creep in, reaching out towards the mound. And a first pitch curveball to Dalton Bargo. Bargo sent a soft line drive to the right side last time up. It was misplayed by Reese Robinette and turned into an error, and he eventually scored a batter later on Dean Curley's home run. I think Root's pitching with some confidence right now.
Yeah, I would say so.
And they got that dude to back him up. Gabe Gackle, strikeout machine. 0-2 pitch upstairs. And a breaking ball hit to the right side. Robinette handles this one. Just underway in Westwood. Let's get you a studio for an update. Here's Darinoka. One pitch. Yeah, that's a good start. Still to come later tonight on ESPN2, Oregon State and Florida State. Game 2 of that series.
Mason Lytle, the guy for that UTSA lineup. And I tell you what, boys, I got to watch a lot of that regional last weekend. And
they dominated.
There was nothing fluky about what they did in Austin. It's easy to see the name UTSA and think that's a 4 seed. They were a 2 seed. There was some serious talent on display down there. A team that's 47-13.
And if you're just tuning in to the college baseball postseason, the top 2 seeds both got eliminated last week. Vandy was the number 1 seed. They didn't make it to the regional final, and Texas was the 2 seed. Texas was number 1 in the country according to most polls for a good chunk of the season. Both of these teams, Arkansas and Tennessee, have been in the top spot in the polls, sharing it with just a few others this year. Here's a 3-0 to Dean Curley. 4-seamer up and a 4-pitch walk with 2 down. It's a second walk issued by Zach Root today, who's allowed only 4 base runners, 2 walks, an error, and a home run. Arkansas has out-hit Tennessee 10-1.
Tennessee has not left a base runner on in this game. They've been erased by the double play or they scored on a home run.
They haven't had many.
No.
Reese Chapman 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. And a breaking ball hit to left field. Charging to make the catch is Davila. No runs, no hits, a walk in. 1 man left on. Time to stretch in Fayetteville. They're calling Root, and he's got Arkansas in a big advantage. things matter?
Well, I think one of them, you're seeing the opportunities that Arkansas has been able to provide themselves. And while they haven't cashed in on many of them, and some of that you got to give Tennessee's defense credit for, Tennessee's just been unable to sustain any momentum against Zach Root, and you got to give him all the credit for a team that he did not have a lot of success against just a few weeks ago. He has been at his absolute best in this one here this afternoon.
Logan Maxwell leads off the 7th. And drops a bunt down right in front of the plate. Lawless got there in time. One down.
Pretty good actions by the freshman back there. This is his 21st start, so it's not like he's thrown into something that he hasn't done at least a fair amount this year, but that's the one you want to call your pitcher off. The only chance that they have to make that play is bare hand by Lawless, clear the base runner, 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 7th.
Here's Ryder Helfrich, connected for a 2-run home run in the 5th inning. He was also hit by a pitch in the 3rd. Got a huge jump he made in the offseason after laboring through his freshman year on campus. And I asked him, how'd you deal with those frustrations? He said, I didn't. It was awful. Got to the Cape, turned things around, playing with some confidence now. Fouls one back. He played for the Ugly Eagles at Clayton Valley Charter High School.
The Ugly Eagles.
The Ugly Eagles, not a nickname. That was the real name.
That's the mascot?
Yeah.
That's a first for me.
I'd like to see what the mascot actually looks like.
Probably
Like-
ugly.
How ugly it really is.
Like the name, like there you go, the Ugly Eagles.
Ugly.
I'm trying to think the adjectives before mascot. Like we hear the
That you'd
the
say no
fighting
to?
Tigers or the
Fighting Eagles? No, we don't want that.
maybe
Hunting
like the
Eagles,
roaring,
no, we don't want that.
or sometimes you get like
How
a
about,
color like
like-
the golden.
Hear me out on this. How about Ugly Eagles? Yes, that's the one we're going with.
He's punched out on a breaking. But he did. I asked for that background. He said apparently as a football coach in the 70s trying to fire up the team before the game. He said, let's get ugly.
Okay, see, I can dig that. Like
That feels like more of a baseball thing than football, right?
like gnarly or
Yeah.
gross or
Dirt bags.
The Ugly Eagles. I can dig it.
2 down. Here's Cam Kojal. And he rips the first one to the right side. He's swinging early a couple times tonight. 1-2-3 frame. It is the first of the game worked by Tennessee. Just 9 pitches needed.
A pretty good day for the left-hander today. In fact, an outstanding day. Zach Root gave up just 1 hit. It was a 2-run home run. And coming off his most recent outing against Tennessee, which wasn't great, today was very different. controlled the breaking ball the whole day. And what I liked about Root, too, is when he needed the fastball to play up, it played up and a little bit differently. He held it in his pocket as high as 98, but lived 94, 95 the entire day. And if you're Arkansas, this was the way you wanted to draw this one up. Root, give us 6 or 7, hand the ball to Gackle, and ultimately let him finish it off. It is a mid to upper 90s fastball, a big-time breaking ball, and big-time stuff for the guy that they thought was going to be a starter for him. Since the move to the bullpen, Gackle has gotten better.
So he's looking for a 2-inning save with Tennessee sending Levi Clark to the plate, the 7-hole hitter. What's the weight? Levi Clark is 0 for 2. A performance by Root on 92 pitches. Gackle pitched on Sunday night, Game 6 of the regional, followed Gage Wood. Those two combined to strike out 20 without a walk. In fact, those two went to only one 3-ball count. In Arkansas history, there had been 14 games with 18 Ks or more, but never before without a walk. Matt Jones with the research on that one. Here's the 0-1.
Nice way to draw up a regional final.
Yeah.
How about we go punch out 20 and don't walk anybody? What's interesting is Root to Gackle is exactly what they did the first 2 times these teams met. And similar to Root, Gackle did not have a great outing in that ball game. 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned. And so they're hoping he's able to follow Root's lead and be able to solve the Tennessee mystery the second time around.
I'm looking at 97. 1 down.
This is what it looks like when a hitter is hunting a breaking ball, KP. This is a fastball right down Broadway. And Levi Clark is just tardy with his decision. You can see how late his hands are moving there as the ball's already entering the strike zone. And Gackle continues his torrid pace here in the postseason.
Stone Lawless is 0 for 2 today, and he fouls off the first one, 0-1. Going back to that appearance against Tennessee a few weeks ago, majority of the damage that Tennessee did against Gackle came from Bargo and Curley. They hit back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning. He may not have to face either one of those if he takes care of business. To the third, Iredale. 2 down. They want to pitch with intent. That's what Creighton's head coach saw this weekend.
It's the intent behind the pitch that separated those guys. There's a lot of guys out there that can throw 95, 96. It's not that uncommon nowadays at the college level, but it's the intent behind the pitch that separated them.
There was a game day meeting yesterday between Matt Hobbs and his pitching coach. He said, I walked in the room, I played that clip, I turned around, and I walked out. That was the best compliment a pitching coach could get from another coach.
It's also the best pitchers meeting that's ever been held in the history of pitchers meetings. Here you go, boys. We'll see you tomorrow.
So it's not just velocity, it's how you attack.
And again, in talking to Matt House before the game, that's the one thing he pointed out was Zach Root and why he thought he struggled against Tennessee is the intent wasn't quite to the level that they wanted. Ed Service talked about that fastball intent the day that Creighton struck out 20 times. I would say it's been there today for Arkansas.
What does that look like from a hitter's perspective?
I think the word intent could also maybe be a synonym for conviction. Like it's very clear that they know exactly who they are and what they want to do. And I think from a hitting perspective, when you're in the box with guys that you know believe in their stuff and can command multiple offerings, the challenge to that is, okay, what am I hunting? Because you can get in between, which is what you just saw. Yeah, Levi Clark. You get stuck in between because you do truly know you have to defend multiple pitches because these guys are so sure in who they are and what they feature.
And a swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Takes it to 1-2. There you go. That's just exactly what you're talking about.
You got to defend 96, but watch out for the hook and the split. Okay, thanks.
Overcooked it, 2-2. $10,205 in the building today. Short swing, popped it up to the left side. Davalon comes around it. It's a 1-2-3 frame worked by Gackle. Needed just 11 pitches. 4-2 Hogs.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
NCAA Baseball Super Regional coverage continues this weekend across ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and ESPN Plus. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships.
You guys are great.
Tom, we'll take the bracket, too. It's going to come up next. It's going to tell you what's going on across the country and what we're going to see heading to Omaha. Come on, Brackett.
Should we let him work?
Come on, Brackett. Not quite yet.
Nah.
Tennessee goes back to the bullpen. Tanner Franklin, hard throwing right-hander on to try to get the final 3 outs of this inning, see if the offense can come back. I do think, too, some of this is making sure that you still got Arvidsson ready to go for the balance of this weekend. Go ahead, Tom.
So here's Kahil Aloy, who's 1 for 3. You guys were fantastic. Arvidsson threw just 12 pitches. To your point about being able to return and go back-to-back, perhaps. Hot shot to Fisher. He'll take it himself. And there's one down with Brent Iredale coming up. Peeking ahead to the Tennessee ninth, it'll be the top of the order, Keelan, Fisher, and Ensley. Arkansas is 29-1 this season when leading after 8 innings.
And Fisher, to this point, has not reached base.
No, he has not. I just think you're talking about saving Arvidsson, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to this other guy.
Just roll this thumber in there to throw 97 at you.
It's outrageous.
Make it easy.
Did we mention that these two teams have power arms?
Just off the plate with 99. Iredale has a couple of hits. He's 2 for 3. Struck out looking at 96 his first time up. Tennessee is 1-12 when trailing after 8 innings. That Tennessee win came on April 13th at Ole Miss. That's when Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher returned to their former team. That was a very emotional series in Oxford. Strike 3 looking. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's Dari. Well, when the ballpark is named after Jackie Robinson, sometimes you got to play like Jackie Robinson.
Pat Hallmark has that team playing fearless right now. Those dudes have not blinked for 1 second so far in this postseason. Not surprised at all that they're throwing the first punch out there in Hollywood, as Coach Rooney was calling it all last weekend.
Reese Robinette fouls one back. 1-1.
That's not quite Hollywood.
That's what he liked to call it, so I figured I'd piggyback.
Maybe you guys didn't work enough hours.
Yeah, you have to find ways to entertain yourself when you're in the studio for 13 hours a day.
Here's the 2-1 to Robinette. And up the middle off the glove, and a shuffle to finish it off. So we go to the 9th inning. Top third of the order due up for Tennessee, including that man, Andrew Fisher, third in the country in home runs. Volunteers trail by 2. Tennessee faithful in the stands. Their lone win trailing after 8 innings came April 13th at Ole Miss. And it'll be the top of the order starting with Gavin Keelan and try and figure out Gabe Gackel. Gackel retired the side in order in the 8th.
Well, you can't draw it up any better than this, KP, if you're a volunteer. You got your top of the order up and just a bloop and a blast away from tying this one up. So give yourself a puncher's chance. Somebody got to get on, and that'll make for some high drama here in the 9th.
First pitch, 96-mile-an-hour fastball, misses low and away. 1-0 to Gavin Keelan. Keelan Jr. from Milton, Wisconsin, was playing for the Louisville Cardinals last year. Louisville's got a game 3 with Miami tomorrow. Nine for 19 last weekend in the regional, and he pops this one up to the left side. Long run for everybody. Davalon, last second, makes the play.
Boy, fantastic communication right there. Vahiva was flying after that ball and Chuck Davalon's got to deal with the sun. I know he feels the presence of a big man bearing down on him, and all he does is keep his eyes fixated on the ball, communicates late, and finishes that one off.
Fisher engages the local fan base as he's introduced. He is 0 for 3. His consecutive reached base streak is on the line. He's reached base safely every game this season.
Okay, in this spot, where even if Fisher hits it in the seats, a one-run game, do you consider bunting just to get a base runner?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe not 2-0, but if
No,
they're
not
handing
now.
you a bunt single on the left, and the guy that matters is standing in the on-deck circle, you just need a base runner.
Yeah, I think that is probably passed now on a 2-0 count, but yeah, at this point, it's anything you got to do to get on and give yourself a chance to tie the ball game up as a team.
And he tattoos this one deep right field. Maxwell to the wall, and it's gone. It's a solo shot for Fisher. He continues his on-base streak, and he makes it a one-run game. That thing got out in a hurry.
You could just do that, KP.
We probably shouldn't bunt.
25th home run of the season for Fisher.
They're trying to throw that fastball up, and they've had a couple swings and misses from Fisher today. At least Zach Root was able to get a few swings and misses, and Gackel's trying to climb the ladder. And Andrew Fisher with a rocket out to right. And well, you don't need a bloop and a blast now. You just need one more blast, and this thing's all tied up.
It's 3 bombs in his last 9 plate appearances, and the first pitch is up to Ensley. Ensley, who's 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts and a fly out to deep right field. Two and 0, and Helfrich will make a visit to Gabe Gackel.
This is not the feel of a ballpark that's 2 outs away from a big game one win. Is it to y'all? I mean, it feels a little tense in the building right now.
Well, they've had some postseason struggles here at home over the years. Seem to get over the hump by sweeping through the regional and dominating in the 3 wins. Think there might be some nerves in the building?
It is oddly quiet in here right now for a team with a lead.
2-0 to short. Lahiva Aloy. 2 down.
It's not going to be quiet
or what?
Not going to be quiet anymore.
Here they come. Here they come.
Dalton Bargo has reached base once. That was on an error in the 5th inning. And he's Tennessee's last chance. Keep in mind, they have the SEC Pitcher of the Year slated to start tomorrow in this best-of-3 series. Liam Doyle pitched out of the bullpen on Monday, not available tonight. First pitch strike from Gackel. Bargo has 14 home runs in the season. One of them came against Gackel in that appearance 3 weeks ago. It was the first of back-to-back, Bargo and then Curley. And Curley's the man on deck. It's a warning for not engaging the batter, I believe by Rick Allen. And Tony Vitello probably wants to ask why it wasn't an automatic ball. You could see Bargo kind of step away and say, hey, what are we doing? We're going to throw a pitch or not?
I think Gackel disengaged too. I think he stepped off the rubber right at the last minute.
So is that why he pointed to both dugouts, almost as if they both?
No,
called a timeout?
I think it was to say that he disengaged.
Roots started it. They're trying to see if Gackel can finish it. 1-1 to Bargo. Swing and a miss. And the Volunteers down to their last strike. The 1-2. Ooh. What's your euchre impersonation?
There it is, KP.
Just a bit outside. Hit the bull.
Two and two to Dalton Bargo. Swing and a miss, and Arkansas takes game one. Root and Gackel combined to hold Tennessee to just 2 hits in a 1-run victory. Razorbacks 423 miles and 1 win away from Omaha, but they have to contend with the SEC Pitcher of the Year, Liam Doyle, tomorrow.
Pretty impressive stuff, KP. This was an Arkansas team that is as talented as any team in the country offensively and on the mound. And boy, did they show off today on the bump. 2 hits allowed.
Yeah, 2 hits allowed, both home runs, but 2 guys that when these teams played a month ago weren't very good against Tennessee. Zach Root wasn't great. Gabe Gackel wasn't great tonight. They were outstanding, and I mean 3 runs on 2 hits to control that offense, which is one of the best offenses in the country in Tennessee. The way this staff did today